take a look at him and guess what he did wrong.
Just leave the kids alone. How hard is it to not go after minors?
Olha, foi preso youtuber conhecido como Raul Zito. Raulino de Oliveira Maciel tem canal no YouTube com 145 mil inscritos.
Okay, seriously. Is there no end to the number of creepy people on the internet that get off on preying on young people? It feels like someone new gets exposed for being, to quote the British, a nonce every other week. What is it about being an influencer that makes these people believe that this kind of behavior is okay? Do they really think that they're above the law just because they have a little bit of clout online? I really don't get it! I mean, 2021 alone has already seen EDP445 and James Charles, two massive influencers in their own right, get called out for being absolute sickos. And now you're telling me that we have to add another one to the list? I don't know how much more I can take, man! What's up, Plug Clan? Today I'm here to talk to you about a guy by the name of Raul Zito. And I hope you're just ready to be angry, because I am angry already! Because, good God, he is absolutely disgusting. Now, I won't blame you if you haven't even heard of this guy before, so before I do anything else, I think the best thing to do is go right back to basics and answer that question. Who is Raul Zito? What is he famous, and believe me, I'm using that word as loosely as possible, for? What does he actually do when he isn't targeting young people because he's an absolute creep show? For lack of a better description, Raul Zito is a Brazilian internet personality who is actually pretty well known in the online gaming community. He has well over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 100,000 followers on Twitch, which is no easy feat given how fast trends change over there, and 200,000 followers on Instagram. So clearly, he was doing something right with his marketing. And I know that these numbers seem pretty small in comparison to the other people that I've talked about, but they're really not that small at all. A combined total of over 500,000 people is still a lot, especially considering that most of them are children. Yeah, young kids! That is a worrying number of children that he has had direct access to. Now that you know who he is, the question then becomes, what did he actually do? And what prompted us to make a video about this sick man? An article by Insider reports that Raul Zito, real name Raulino Oliveira Maciel, was arrested on July 27, 2021 on charges of harm of the vulnerable. It's pretty light on the details because of how quickly it was written following his arrest, but it does say that this charge is only ever used when the people involved are under the age of 14. Yup, you heard that right. This guy's alleged victims are all under the age of 14 years old. Excuse me for a second while I go find a place to puke. I didn't really puke, that was just dramatic. Where were we? Oh, yes, that's right. Seriously, dude? You're at least 20 years older than they are. What the hell do you think you're doing? Did no one ever teach you right from wrong? Just leave them alone. Are you seriously so incapable of finding someone your own age that you have to resort to taking advantage of children? There are literally thousands of dating apps out there, and you are famous, and you have money. There would be someone who would be interested in you, I promise. But I think at the end of the day, he's just the disgusting person who exploits his power. Yep, that sounds about right. According to police reports, Raul's known victims are two child actors between the ages of 10 and 14. Apparently, he would contact them through his Instagram account and pretend that he'd be able to get them a job on TV and would talk to them that way. His Instagram account, which is still up for some reason, isn't that kind of weird? I mean, they sniped EDP445's account pretty much immediately when he's exposed for similar behavior. I don't know what they're waiting for, because for people like this, all their platforms need to be taken away or deleted immediately, because they honestly are just misusing them. But you know what the worst part is? Him reaching out to help them to secure jobs was entirely possible. Raul did work for a TV network. He was a presenter for SBT Games, which is the gaming branch of the second most popular TV network in Brazil. He'd already done multiple live streams with kids. Now, we don't really know exactly what he did to them because the information is still classified, and it probably always will be, just because the victims are very young. But just think about the seriousness of this situation for a second. This man was able to get access to two innocent kids because of social media. And that, dear viewers, is why I mentioned just how many followers he had earlier. He had roughly 500,000 people following him across all of his platforms. The majority of them were kids that would probably fall for the promise of getting to work with him. And it's not like they were messaging him. He was the one reaching out to them first. He was the one initiating these conversations, and the only way he was able to do that was because, drumroll please, his presence on social media. Of course, they'd be excited about talking to one of their favorite influencers. He was able to talk to them and hurt them because of his Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram accounts. And the reason he had them in the first place is because they were easy ways of talking to his audience unsupervised. It's all well and good when platforms like Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube ban these people, but by that point, it's already too late. Raul was banned because he got caught, but the damage had already been done at that point. Not only are people like Raul dangerous because of their access to social media, but they're also dangerous because of the way that they present themselves online. It's purposefully done with the intent of drawing kids in. Raul's entire platform was literally built to attract kids. I don't think it takes a genius to realize that literally everything about him has been designed to draw kids in and keep them engaged. I mean, just look at him for a second. Forget everything you may know or not know about him and just keep his physical appearance in mind. What's the first thing you notice about him? Anyone? If you're not colorblind, then it's probably the bright pink beard and blue hair, right? They're kind of hard not to notice, and while they might seem like a guy in his early to mid-30s having an identity crisis, actually a lot more sinister than that. I know this might be a pretty weird comparison, but stick with me for a minute, okay? Think about the way the toys and the clothes are marketed. They're all bright colors and patterns. They're designed to draw you in at first glance. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Maybe I'm reaching and he just really wanted to dye his beard neon pink, but somehow I don't think so. I think he did it on purpose, because if you're just scrolling through your homepage and you catch a glimpse of him looking like that, of course you're gonna scroll back up and check. And while I'm on the subject of his appearance, there's something else I would like to point out. There's been a lot of talk about how we should all have known that he was a total weirdo from the way he dresses. People saying things like, in case anyone's wondering, yes, he's a woke male feminist trans ally person. And I'm at the point where the more woke someone is, the more I think they're hiding something. Yeah, because the problem here is that Raul is too woke and not, what's the word that starts with a P and ends with an E? Oh, what could it be? Rhymes with crocodile? Gosh, I just can't remember. I mean, which is the more likely scenario here? Every woke person on the internet is a creep, or certain people out there have realized that young kids care about this kind of thing, and they pretend they care about it too, so that they can draw more people in? If you genuinely think that it's the first one, then boy, do I have some bad news for you about the number of politicians that have been caught fooling around with underage kids. And on top of all that, he was also famous for playing Fortnite, a game that is mainly marketed for young people. That's right. But, you know, I'm sure that it's just a coincidence. There's no way he'd deliberately choose a game that has a huge following of such young people, right? Definitely not. Whenever something like this happens, we always get internet sleuths coming out of the woodwork to boast about how they'd always known something was up with that guy, because apparently we can't just celebrate the fact that one more creep got caught. This is the internet, of course. People have to be smug about it. And boy, are the people who have been responding to this entire situation been smug as hell about him getting caught. Honestly, the number of people making the same joke about how we all should have known because just look at him is kind of embarrassing. Saying things like, grown man, dyed hair, dyed beard, plays video games, tough to spot the signs to be fair, and why do they always look like that? Or how about this killer reply, guy who looks like a freak turns out to be a freak? If it really was that obvious. and we all should have immediately known, then why did it take so long for him to get caught? Why didn't anyone do anything sooner? Or are you just playing couch detective and patting yourself on the back over something you have a zero emotional involvement in? Do you actually care about the people being hurt? Or are you just dunking on this guy because he's an easy target and you need the clout of Twitter likes? I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that. But what do you guys think? Is he the worst person you've ever heard about? Why do people keep getting exposed for doing this kind of crap? What kind of hobbies do you think he'll pick up in prison? Let us know in the comments below.